Hey, how you going everybody? My name is Dominic Vizdos. Thank you for checking out my channel, and today I'm going to be walking you through my commission process to create the zombie trucker. Let's not waste any time and get right into this. Alrighty, so like with most of my commissions, I started out by heading over to the savior of just my whole life, Reddit, and looking for commission work. And so I found a guy who was looking for someone to design a logo for his construction team. And so I reached out to him. Normally I wouldn't consider myself a logo designer or like a graphic designer by any means, but in this case, the guy liked my kind of illustrative style, and so we started getting to work on it. This guy was really awesome to work with because he gave me a super great breakdown of what he was looking for in the piece, and more importantly, he was super quick to respond with everything, which was awesome, and I really appreciate that. So let's take a look at these requirements I got from him and see what I'd have to include in my piece. I'm looking for a kind of logo. Something that'll incorporate a red tractor. Think 18-wheeler without the trailer. Hot rodded out. A pipe wrench, a medium-length sledgehammer, my crew's name, Rangers, maybe as a top rocker. I eventually want to put this on a vinyl sticker so I can hand it to the guys on my crew. I like your character work, so if you could come up with something, maybe a zombie in red coveralls? Alright, so that's a lot to work with, and it's going to make my job a lot easier. So let's kind of boil down what was in that. So for one, I know the color scheme is going to need to have red in it because of the truck and the coveralls. So because of that, in combination with that sort of monster zombie thing he was looking for, I'm thinking about going with a red-green color palette for this one. Obviously, green is the complementary color to red if we look on the color wheel. Fun little factoid. We also know now the style of the vehicle he's looking for. It's going to be a hot rodded out 18-wheeler truck, which I'm pretty excited to draw. That sounds like a lot of fun. He's going to want a top rocker, which is going to be some typeface, so I need to keep that in mind. And then, like I said, he's looking for a monster, so I'm thinking probably just going with a zombie trucker would be pretty cool. Alright, so let's get started with the drawing. So once I knew what I had to draw, it was time to jump into it and start mapping out the perspective lines. This was really important because it grounds my more cartoony style within the kind of visual laws of the real world. This is some really basic, probably poorly done three-point perspective. It's definitely something I'm working on getting better at. This was really fun to block out. It was my first time ever drawing a car, so it was really fun to switch things up and tackle something new. Once I had the basic geometry done, I started sketching in the zombie placement. This wasn't anything concrete, just something I can build on with another pass. For me, drawing really feels like chipping away at the details until you end up with a finished work. With any piece of digital art, I've found layer control is super important. Just keeping everything on separate layers really gives you some fine-tuning abilities later on, even if it takes a couple extra seconds here or there to make it happen. In the long run, it's really, really worth it. Once that was done, I finally went in and did the final line work for the zombie. This was a ton of fun, and I really enjoyed doing the face. I was really happy with how the hand turned out. There you see the first of those extra elements we had, the pipe wrench, so keep that in mind when it comes up later. So once he was done, I went in and did the line work for the truck. This was super satisfying and really let me stretch my drawing muscles a little. You can see there right below the engine block I put in the sledgehammer. So at this point in the drawing I have everything except for the Ranger type. Once I finished the line work on the truck, the piece was really ready to get sent over to the client for approval before I colored it. So that turned out pretty cool. I sent it over to the client, and he just had a couple of notes for me before I went in and did the final coloring. He really liked the overall design of it. He just wanted to make the pipe wrench a little bit longer, and then also wanted to change the top rocker to a bottom rocker. So I hadn't done that yet, so it wouldn't even be a problem. Now I'd like to take a quick moment to have a word from our sponsors. I don't have sponsors. I don't have viewers. I'm in my closet. It's 3:30 a.m. Let's get back to drawing. Alright, so now that the design is approved by the client, I'm gonna just make those little changes and add some more details to the truck. Once everything's in place there, I'm gonna get to work coloring this guy. This is where layer control becomes super duper important. By the end of this piece, each color and shadow and everything was on its own layer. And you'll see throughout this piece me individually adjusting these colors independently of one another. This just lets me tweak the colors exactly how I want them, although I do wish I did a little bit more of this with the piece at the end, but you know, you live and you learn. Once the flats were laid in, I went in and slightly painted the piece, kinda, I guess, if you could call it that. Really just adding a little bit more gradient to the skin tones and everything. And then just suggesting a little bit more dimensionality throughout the piece as a whole. I think this step really adds a lot in the end. If you look on my Instagram, you can really see the difference between this technique and my older coloring technique. I'll have a video breaking down the different coloring methods I've used and which one I think is the best once I have kind of a solid coloring method locked down. I was really happy with how that oxidation effect came through with the truck. I think those little hints of bluish green throughout really complement the red well. Who would have thought? Once the piece was in a good place, I went in with a magenta multiply layer set at 20% opacity to lay in the first shadow layer. It always surprises me how much this really adds to the dimensionality of the piece, especially just with those little shadow breaks. I think it's a really powerful tool. Once that layer was done, I went in with another magenta multiply layer. This time it was at 30% opacity, just to add in those darker shadows. After that was done, the piece was pretty much finished, and I just had to add a quick background. Oh yeah, and that bottom rocker. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. The type is definitely not my strong point, but I think it turned out alright. And there it is, a zombie trucker. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I think it was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun working on it, and the client was really happy with the end result, which is awesome because he felt like it was worth giving his money to me to draw something, which is crazy, and I really appreciate. Anyways, if you guys like what I'm doing here, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you really think you can handle the power, maybe hit that little bell icon. I'm a super new channel. If you guys could just share this video around, show it to your friends, show it to your mom, show it to your dog, show it to whoever. I just want to build something cool here that maybe people will enjoy. So yeah. I hope you guys have a great day, and remember to make some art.